All right. Welcome in, everyone. Laugh. Sophie, how's it going? Well, this is going to be a rant episode. I, again, was not going to stream today, but it has come to my attention through my own perusing of the web, through X, through YouTube, through even Twitch, etc., that, well, I'll talk about it. I'll bring this up. This is the whole point of this episode. What's up, Slowboy? What's up, John Castle? Yeah, I know, Slowboy. It's the whole world, not just tech. But what's up, Tigglebitty? The problem with me is that I'm not equipped to talk about the whole world. There are other people far more equipped to talk about that than I am. I am equipped to talk about the tech industry. And what I am equipped to do is call out the fact that the tech industry is full. And I mean full. Okay, maybe not full. There are definitely some people who are outspoken, but it is filled in a vast majority with people who are weak, gutless, soulless, sackless, low T individuals who do not have the ability to speak up for what's right and true. Now, if you've been watching my streams for any amount of time, I've been talking about this from a historical perspective. How the tech industry has been taken over by people who do not know how to properly wield the power that the tech industry provides them. And instead what they do is they use it to beat you over the head and manipulate you and take your money and then leave you on the ditch while they ride off into the sunset with all of your hard-earned dollars. They do not care about things like quality, performance, or security. And when something like what's happened recently with Charlie Kirk pops up, it comes right to the forefront how these people think. Because an overwhelming amount of the tech industry is either silent, completely silent, or they have a weak, lukewarm take on what's happened. This goes back to the fact that a lot of people in the tech industry are also silent or lukewarm about the paradigms, abstractions, obfuscations, and all the different ways that they do not know how to code and how they neuter you as a programmer and how they steal from you as a consumer. So I thought today what we would do is we would go and see just how strong the tech industry is. How many people are actually speaking out about what happened? How many people are actually calling out their colleagues in tech who are cheering on the demise of a man who has now left a family behind to deal with his absence? The answer won't surprise you. Now, before I do that, how many of you in chat right now have lost your job because you were perhaps a little bit too outspoken during the coffee coughs at a particular time period, say a few years ago? Or you didn't do what you were told because you didn't feel it necessary? I, for one, did lose my job over it. I worked from home. I didn't go out. Not that I could anyways. There was no requirement for me to take the thing that was supposed to keep me safe. And yet, without warning, I was let go. How many of you have worked next to colleagues in a cubicle programming and you overhear a conversation and you would like to say something about it because you also have an opinion, but your opinion is not the, say, prominent opinion? And out of fear that you might get derided or even kicked out, you've said nothing. Now, you can make a political statement you can make a political context for that scenario, but how about just a programming one? How many of you have had a programming concept in your head that goes against the common narrative, but the pushback is, oh, but sir, what do you want us to go back to writing assembly? Oh, but sir, my favorite tech influencer or streamer told me that this is the correct way. Oh, but sir, I read an article that proves you wrong. And if you dared to say something that went against the narrative of what the programming paradigms were, you were going to be left out. How many of you? One's in chat. Now, just so you guys know, you're not alone, okay? You're absolutely not alone. I'm going to show you a couple of stories. Well, I'm going to show you a couple of things, okay? 2 things in particular. How many of you in chat have been involved in a company that tells you how to vote, that tells you how to think, that tells you how to, say, make autonomous bodily decisions, okay, referring back to a period in time when we were all, experiencing a particular thing, right? Okay, I'm trying to be terms of service friendly here. How many of you, including in programming? And you would think that there would be strong people at leadership levels, at influencer leadership, streamer, online, influential levels, including people who claim to be on the right or even on the left, who would absolutely, you'd think they would absolutely point to that and go, this is bad. Shouldn't do this. This is a bad way of thinking. But instead what we have is the opposite. James Landrum here. If you're not a blind liberal, the bad kind of liberal, then 80% of software engineers hate you. Yes. It's worse. If you dare to speak up against this kind of ideology, since it has no place in code, even your side or centered people will turn on you. As many have turned on me and turned me into a pariah. James, I still think telling a coworker to shut the fuck up was only half of why I was fired from one job. The other half was probably standing up to HR for, in the middle of an all hands, basically telling us we need to go vote, and the person we vote for should be obvious: Clinton. Now, what stemmed this particular conversation? Uncle Bob Martin. Of all the people on the planet to actually have the balls to say something, it's gotta be Uncle Bob Martin. And you know what? I don't agree with Uncle Bob Martin on a number of things. I don't know if it's most, I don't know if it's only some, but it's at least a few things. But I can agree here. Uncle Bob Martin, who promotes clean code, that's where you might remember him from, and a little bit of test-driven development, although his take on that is a bit more nuanced. He says here, I asked someone who I had helped, supported, and respected to write a foreword to one of my books about software. This person refused based upon my political beliefs. Yep. Now, tell me what on earth Uncle Bob's political beliefs would have on a technical book about software, and why you would not want to at least help support this technical aspect. And yet this is the tech industry, and it's the most the most depressing or disappointing thing when you expect the people who should otherwise stand up the most for what's true and good, who are the weakest, and the people you least expect, who are the strongest. I wouldn't have expected Uncle Bob Martin to say something like this, but he did, and good on him. Yeah, there you go, fall away. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad, Moldy Apple. I'm not paying much attention to chat right now, but you guys can pop off. Just be careful of terms of service, or I will unfortunately have to ban you permanently. Just be careful of that. Yeah, I'm 22. Yeah, that's right. Moldy, you're my new best friend. Now, I thought to myself, based on this story and based on this post, right, from Uncle Bob, and based on what James talked about, I thought, I wonder if we could find other people in tech who would speak up, who have spoken up about what's happened since Charlie Kirk's demise. Can we find anybody who's pointing to it, who you would look to as someone in leadership and programming online, whether they're a streamer or an influencer or they just post online? Can we point to anybody who talks about this stuff and says, no, this is bad, people, we shouldn't be doing this in tech? Could we find anyone? And so I thought what I would do is I would have this rant stream, and we could just go down a list of people. So feel free in chat. What I would like you to do is keep in mind, note down anybody that you think we should go look up. I haven't done a comprehensive review. We're going to do this live. And if you think that there's anybody we should look at, if we should go to their YouTube page, their X page, I don't know, Instagram, whatever it is, if you can think of a popular tech streamer, tech influencer, programmer, ideally, and let's go have a look and see if they've said ne'er a word about what's going on with Charlie Kirk. Let's just see how much strength, how much balls the tech industry has left. K2, thank you for the super chat for $10. Let me show off your super chat there. You gotta buy the shares of Donkey Balls Gaming. Yeah, we need to pay Emmett, right? Because it's difficult. Emmett charges a high price for his participation in EmmettSucksDonkeyballs.me, and it's tough, right? So I appreciate it, K2. K2 now owns 100% of that company, by the way. I'm gonna have to create multiple companies out of this. This is insane. It's getting out of hand, folks. Getting out of hand. Are we not, man? How you doing? Welcome in, everybody, by the way. Okay. So let me start building out a list. I'll keep a list that you guys bring up. I will try and keep it up in chat. I'm going to apologize if I go down a focused hole of, content here and I miss some of your chats when you bring up people that I should look up. But let's just have a look. I want you guys, both as consumers and as programmers, to understand just how soulless the tech industry is. And I want you to understand that there's a principle here. I'm talking about a principle where these influencers, streamers, etc., do not have the guts to call out what's wrong in their own industry. And I'll start us off, okay, while you guys think of people you'd want me to look up. I'll start us off with someone. How about Mr. the Primogen? Now, there are other people too, like if you look at Pirate Software, okay, he's one of the big ones, okay, but Pirate Software is very much involved with that side of the spectrum. So, of course, he's not going to say anything. And also, he's gone into cowering and hiding because he's received a whole lot of, let's say, backlash because of some of the things that he's done that have been admittedly not so smart on his end. You can also look at people like Theo. Theo is, oh man, he's the last person I would expect to say anything about this. He has said nothing about it. So that doesn't surprise me. If anything, I would imagine, and I don't know that there's proof of this, but I would imagine that people like Theo and Pirate Software would probably even advocate for it, but I don't know because they haven't said anything, right? So that's just a guess. Now, Primeagen claims to be on the right. He claims to be a conservative. He has claimed it publicly before and privately. He also claims to be a Christian who denounces degeneracy, although he has degeneracy on his stream all the time historically. What has he said about Charlie Kirk? Well, at the very least, he had the presence of mind. By the way, he's blocked me because he's too weak-minded to actually maintain any level of semblance of argument against me because he's weak. Okay, so this guy, let's see, does he say anything about Charlie Kirk? He sure does. Rest in peace, Charlie. Prayers for the family and friends. Good. That's it, though. That's it. Has he denounced anybody in tech who calls for not only the death of Charlie Kirk, but also for the death of his wife and his kids and further people on the right? No. And we know it's happening in tech because people like Grums and Asmongold are picking up that torch, so to speak, when other people should have done it first. The lone moderate, thank you, the only person in tech brave enough to say something. No, the Primeagen is the only person in tech who's capable of stating an opinion that he's not willing to stick strongly to or back up in any way, shape, or form. He is the most milquetoast person on tech ever. Period. How about Tay Zonde? Let's go have a look at Tay Zonde. I believe I saw that. You believe he was the first robot? Let's see who is this Tay Zonde? Is this the right person? I don't know, Moldy. I don't know. The first robot? I don't know what you're talking about. How about DHH? DHH did actually have something to say about it, which is good. Let me see if I can find the right... let me go up here. Let's go Charlie Kirk. All right, let's go have a look at what DHH says. Not that. Not that. I can't... He made a post. I know he made a post. Yeah, it's up here. That's right. This one. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. DHH actually had the presence of mind. He actually had the strength right here. All right, here we go. DHH actually had the strength to say something. I just want to bring up that. Let me go over. Right. Theo, I just want to bring up Primeagen here so you can see it. Okay. He's blocked me, and we'll just go down to, anything he says about Charlie Kirk here. I don't know where his post is on it. Let's just go up here. We'll do this. I don't know. I guess I can't do like the search thing. There we go. Now I can. Rest in peace. And then here's the lone moderate, says the only person in tech brave enough to say something. No, he's not the only person in tech brave enough to say something. But of course, his audience would believe that. It's the audience he nurtures, etc., etc. But let's go have a look at DHH. Words are not violence, and he absolutely repudiates the idea of all of this rhetoric, this extreme rhetoric that happens. Good. Is there anybody else? How about Traversy Media? Here, Brad Traversy. He's quite popular. Extremely popular, I would say. Has he said anything? Let's see. Charlie Kirk. Anything? Nope. Nothing. Paul Graham? Who's Paul Graham? I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of these people you're gonna name, and I'm not gonna really know. Uh, Paul Graham, followed by DHH. Here we go. Let's see. Has he said anything about Charlie Kirk? I don't see anything. Let's go latest. No, I don't see anything. Linus Tech Tips. Let's go have a look at Linus Tech Tips. Yeah. Linus Tech Tips. Now, Linus Tech Tips will not have said anything because this is going to be their like, it's not going to match the style. It's the platform, right? So of course they're not going to have said anything. I wouldn't expect them to. But what about Linus from Linus Tech Tips? I wonder, has he said anything? No, doesn't look like it. No. Anybody else? Let me see who else I can think of. Let me just have a look here. I know free maybe Fireship. I'm not sure. It could be a parody account. Yeah, Fireship. Yeah, Slow Boy, you are the only one who thinks he had extreme rhetoric. Yes, I don't see anything. Hey, can somebody ban Slow Boy, please? Is there anybody on? Are we not men? Can you please ban Slow Boy? You don't get to say something like you play with fire, you get burned, without getting banned. Are we not men? Could you have the pleasure of banning Slow Boy from my chat? That's extremely inappropriate. Yeah, what you're saying is that he deserved it. Uh, Graham is the co-founder of Y Combinator and wrote Yahoo Store. Yeah, yeah. What about I'm trying to think who else. Who else is a popular influencer streamer? It's on the YouTube side, Purecoin. Thank you, Are We Not Men? I appreciate that. Yeah, you don't get to come in chat and say that Charlie Kirk was first of all an extremist. You can say that. You can have that opinion. I was perfectly willing to allow that. You can have the opinion that he was had extreme rhetoric. That's an opinion that you might have based on what he says. Absolutely. But when you say if you play with fire you get burned, what you're really saying is he deserved it. He had what was coming to him. His death was deserved. So no, as soon as you're going to say that, you're going to be banned. If you want to have an opinion about what he said and whether you think it's extreme, not extreme, right wing, left wing, fine, totally fine. Completely allowed in my chat at least. You're allowed to have that opinion, but you dare not say that he had it coming or you will be removed permanently. Um, Thank you. Are we not men? Yes, Slow Boy Whiteboard say that. Yes, he said that. It was said on YouTube. You know what? I don't have the. You know what? Let me do this. I turned off the relay chat, so let me turn it back on. Just so you guys can see each other. Okay. So yeah, so I turned on the shared chat. I had to turn it off for my last stream, but I'll here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, just so you guys can see. Relay chat should be on. Just so you guys can see, I'm not making it up. I don't know how the frickin' Zoom works on here, but okay. I'm not making it up. He did say that. You don't get to say you play with fire, you get burned. That is indeed extreme rhetoric, which is akin to saying he earned it. So, yes, permaban for life for that. Okay. So, let me see if I can think of anybody else. Let me see here. Who else would who else could be somebody else? Maybe I'm trying to look through some of my history on stuff on people I've looked up. How about I think it's Corey Schaefer. I can't remember the account. I don't know if he has one. I don't know if he has one on here, so that might not be a good one. Um, who else? Anybody got anyone else? Mr. Bill? Okay, Mr. Bill. Let's go have a look at Mr. Bill. Has Mr. Bill said anything? No, Ginger Odin, I believe, or Odin Ginger, or Odin, or maybe Ginger Bill. Ginger Bill. Let's see. Has he said anything? Doesn't look like it. Oh, I see. Okay. Let's see. Who else do we have? Do we have, let's say, Casey Muratori? Doesn't look like it. How about Jonathan Blow? Now, I will say Jonathan Blow is making a stand, but he's doing it a bit more silently. He's trying to find a different platform other than Twitch, and we all know why. Because Twitch likes to promote and put in front of your face people who support this kind of violent terrorism openly and explicitly. And Jonathan Blow is being coy about why he wants to get off Twitch, but it's really, really clear because Jonathan Blow knows what's up. However, is he making any statements about it? No. No, nothing. But he is voting with his dollar. He is voting with his viewership, right? So he's taking his viewers away from people from these platforms that he doesn't agree with. Okay? So that's at least good, but I'm going to talk about why it's not enough in a minute, all right? Here, I'm going to pull this one up. This just came in on my notifications. Let's have a read. This is from Mike Noodle. I was lower middle management at an unspecified Fortune 500 company. Corporate was requiring the jabby jabs for everyone unless they claimed a religious or medical exemption. Even then, that didn't work. I made a religious claim on my end and it wasn't enough. I was still sacked without warning. I did some research to provide my team with a list of all the denominations of all the major religions that opposed it. I don't know what they did with that information, but I can tell you that no one on my team was let go. Well, that's great. Okay. Pavel Yosifovich. Let me just pull up. I would just want to make sure I pull it up on another screen here. Because I don't want to show anything in particular if I can avoid it. Let me do this. If I go here, I'll go like this for a minute. Pavel Yosifovich. Is that Yosef? Okay, I gotta spell it right if I'm gonna do this right. That should probably help. Let's see, Pavel Yosifovich. Okay, I'll be careful. I'm gonna try and be careful what I show here. I don't want to show too much. I wonder if I can just go directly to his post. Let's go directly to the posts. Okay, I think I can do this. I think this is going to be okay. Let me switch over the camera. All right, here's Pavel Yosifovich. Okay. No. 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 No, there's nothing here. Okay, I got to be careful what I keep showing. All right. So the issue here, okay, the issue here is that for the longest time, for decades even, at the very least for the last decade or so, well, no, how about this? I'll even be generous. At the very least for the last 5 years or so, the tech industry has been completely captured by an ideological mind virus that makes people think a particular way, which is to not think at all. And it forces people to enact certain coding paradigms because it encourages non-thinking faculties. That's what it's been captured by. It's been captured by this kind of mind virus, where you are told what to believe, you're told who to vote for, you're told what to do with your body, and if you don't, you become a pariah like Mr. Uncle Bob Martin has become, where people aren't even willing to do a foreword on a technical book because of your political beliefs. The idea of differentiating between politics and tech no longer exists, and it started when leftists decided that they were going to neuter your ability to understand what it takes to actually write good quality code. And when people became silent about it, who shouldn't have otherwise been silent because they were too weak and scared to say something about it. And that's why you have people like the Primogen who are willing to suckle on the teats of these morons so long as it provides them some kind of benefit. And then it's people like Bob Martin or other people who you wouldn't expect to say something who end up doing it. Or people like Asmongold, who I would say isn't even on any particular spectrum. If anything, he probably leans more towards the left. And him and other people you wouldn't expect are picking up the torch and pointing at tech and going, "What the hell are you doing in there?" It shouldn't be up to them and only them to bring attention to that. There should be people inside of this industry who have the balls to say something. But for years, nobody has, or very few people have. And the people who should have been, eerily silent about it. So the days of let's remove the politics away from tech, that ship has sailed. And it's not because I want politics to be in tech. I constantly argue against it. From the left and from the right. And the day that the right decides they're going to use tech and wield it as weapons against us, I will be right there again saying the exact same thing. But right now, where we live today, we have a bunch of people who are mostly on the left perhaps radical left, that might be fair, who are in tech and who have been warped by the mind virus that has been happening, and they are using tech to warp your mind and make you think that political violence is okay. And if you dare to think differently, you're not going to get the support that you so desire or that you should have, because these two things, as some people are rightfully bringing out, actually point out that they don't have a place there. But I'm not the one who brought it there. So, welcome to the tech industry, which is filled, it's an empty hallway, which is filled with the resonating sounds of screechers and whiners and wimps and losers who think that they're going to use tech and then wield it over us like it's some kind of weapon that they have some right to use against us. And they are currently using it as a means to promote violent acts against the people that they don't believe. At first, it came for your programming paradigms, it came for your security, it came for your data, it came for your background, it came for your identity, then it came for your political beliefs, then it came for your body, and now it's coming for your mind. And there are not enough people who are speaking up about it. And there are way too many people who should be, and they're too weak to do a damn thing about it. Good luck out there. Stay safe, because there are very few people in this world who actually give a shit about you in the tech industry. And unfortunately, a vast majority of the world depends on the tech industry to actually do what it's supposed to do. And we are so far removed from that, I don't see currently a way to get out of it unless there is some extreme pushback verbally, like I'm doing, where people actually stand up and say something against it. Jonas 99, you as an individual, this is the problem, Jonas, is that you're internalizing the argument. Well, I don't see how it affects me. Of course you don't, and many of you individually don't. I'm not pointing to you as an individual. I'm pointing to a grand spectrum of things, and I have done so in my streams historically for almost 2 years, where I go over surveys, statistics, science, and even scientific papers talking about, like, is TypeScript a good paradigm? What happens when you try and put AI safety in place? What happens with social media? What are companies doing when they use social media to their benefit? What are programmers doing when they're using particular paradigms like Rust and so forth and so on? So when you look at it from an internalistic perspective, of course you might not, but it's not strictly about you. I'm talking about the general people you. And unfortunately, for the general people you, what people don't understand is things like React and Rust, which is an ideological capture, open source. Linux has been ideologically captured to the point where Linux now, the Linux team, Red Hat people are banning people who have conservative views. They're banning people who are forking projects because they don't agree with the fact that leftist ideological systems are being injected into Linux, for example. People who talk about anybody who works at Microsoft, who doesn't behave, who rather is mixing politics with tech. This is happening everywhere. And that kind of mindset is infecting you when people go, oh, it's okay. It's okay. Appeal to authority. You go ahead and use a library. Because somebody else who's smarter than you has figured out something that you don't need to go figure out. Otherwise, the argument back is, well, what are you going to do? Go learn assembly, bro? You're going to handwrite everything, bro? No. Use the thing that we built for you so that you don't have to think about what you're doing, so you don't have to learn anything about what you're doing, so that we can just continue to promote slop. Do you as an individual get that sense? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I can very easily point to all the evidence. All you have to do is go back to my live streams on my live tab on my YouTube. Go hit enlightenedprogramming.com, where I will absolutely make you pay $10 a month to get access for it, because I worked really damn hard to get this information put together. You have to pay for that information, but it is there, and I can point to it very easily. Enlightenedprogramming.com. Go do that. I'm shamelessly shilling myself. It's all there. The trends have been there for at least 5 years, if not way, way more. And there are not enough people who can separate their own individualistic viewpoint their own internalized viewpoint from the broader trends that are happening. They have their head in the sand and they don't understand what's going on. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm upset over this, and that's why I do what I do. Because we are our own worst enemy inside the tech industry, and nobody wants to talk about it. So fine, continue on. Continue on ignoring the trends, continue on ignoring what's happening in the tech industry, continue on ignoring the fact that tech is becoming heavily politicized to the point where you have things like Unreal Engine or Unity or whatever telling you what words you can or cannot use, or you have GitHub or Git proponents telling you that you can or cannot use the word master, versus main. Go ahead and continue just ignoring all of that. Go ahead. Go ahead and ignore the fact that ever since the 1930s, AI and technology has been used as a way to circumvent bureaucracy, political thinking, individualistic thinking. It's all about making you a sheep inside of a system. Digital enslavement, all of it. Again, not spouting this out of my ass. I have gone over the evidence for this on my streams. But the time to keep ignoring it has long since passed. And the time for weak individuals, I'm not saying, Johnny, that you're weak. Okay, I'm not saying that. I'm stating it as a general statement, okay? Because Jonas, sorry. I'm not saying that Jonas is a weak person here. I'm just kind of engaging with a point that Jonas is trying to make, because I think he's trying to, get an understanding of it. But this is the point. People are not aware of what's becoming of the tech industry. And if we continue to not be aware and not enough people are speaking up, then the tech industry will continue in this way. And we're just going to see more radicalization. We're just going to see more political embeddings of political ideas inside of programming. And it's just going to get worse. And pretty soon, tech's not going to be tech. It's just going to be binary with political spectrums. That's it. That's all it's going to be. It's just going to be the binary version of politics. Jonas says, what does this have to do with Charlie Kirk? Why should tech influencers talk about this particular event? Because this particular event has brought out of the woodwork a lot of people in the tech industry who have benefited from the shield that the tech industry has given them for their ideological beliefs for a long time. They are the ones who have benefited from utilizing technology to protect themselves and attack people who are opposite of them, whether that's right or conservative or even centrist, whatever terms you want to call for the opposite of whatever the quote unquote left is. It doesn't really matter the definition. It just matters that there's an ideological belief, and they have long benefited. For years, they've benefited from protection from the tech industry. And now they have benefited so much that they get to come out of the woodwork and go, hey, Charlie Kirk's death? Good. More of it, please. Wife next, please. Kids next, please. Here's a list of other people that we should tackle, please. And I've gone over this 1 or 2 streams ago. I brought up Blue Sky. I brought up Mastodon. I even brought up some people on Twitter and TikTok who are openly calling for this. They are tech leaders, people in Red Hat, people who like Elementary OS person, tons of them. I have all the records there, and they feel so safe that it's okay for them to promote political violence because they've promoted all kinds of terrible things in the past, and the tech industry has shielded them and suppressed anybody who spoke against them. Now is the time to be speaking up against this, because if this continues, they will continue to turn the tech industry as an actual weapon to take people's lives out, as we have seen is possible to do with cybersecurity issues, with bad code, with insecure code, with AI slop, with phishing campaigns, all of it. You think the only way to take people out is to take a pew-pew stick and aim it at you? No. You think these people are beyond, the people in tech industry who believe this thing are beyond the capacity to take tech and turn it on you? No. It's extreme violence, and it's protected by tech, and it long has been. And the people who should have the balls to stand up are not. I hope everybody's paying attention to what's happening, because if you're not, there's some real world negative impacts that are headed our way. Yours, mine, etc. That's fine, Jonas. You can like Prime because he's a Vim proponent, not because he's a Christian conservative. But I never made the case that you should or shouldn't like him because he's a Vim proponent or a Christian conservative. I'm making the case that his claims of where he lies on an ideological spectrum are betrayed by his actions. You may choose to continue to like him, but I'm calling him out because of his lack of action. That has nothing to do with whether or not he's a proponent of Vim or whether you should continue or not continue to like him. What I'm saying is that we have a bunch of feckless, sackless, ballless people in tech who should be saying something about it right now, and they are not, and they have consistently not been, because all the warning signs have been here for a long time, and it started with simple concepts like what should we do with code, and none of them stood up for that. That's it. That's all.